So it says we're live, but it's a different 30-second thingy. Doesn't have the cool music that the other one did.
You don't get no fucking cool music. You're not cool.
I know what. What the deuce? Is that one?
Might be playing our voices right now.
Probably.
Can you guys hear us?
Yeah, normally it mutes us. What's up?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Sirs and ladies.
Let's pull this up.
You think there's ladies watching?
Slight chance.
Okay.
My wife may be watching.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe mine too. God bless them.
You all let us know if audio is good. I know video with 4 of us cannot be good, but you're just going to have to deal with it. So, yeah.
I can move that. Covering your face.
That's all right.
It's
not like it's a phase that's a money shot, you know. That no pun intended. I understand what comments will be.
That's Josh's call sign.
OPSEC, bro. He's threw it out there.
We're gonna need a new one.
OPSEC, bro.
My Navy SEAL buddies will know my face.
Damn. I guess that's why I wouldn't have made it in the SEALs.
There you go. Audio is good. 5x5. All right. Well, I don't know. I don't even know what I stepped into here. I know Evan is next to me, so I'm assuming we're going to be talking quite a bit about what happened here this past weekend. And my son is completely geeking out. He's asking all these questions that I have no fucking answers to. That's so good. I'm like, grab the radio and contact Evan.
Scan that. We're here for. Scan that QR code.
That's right, baby.
QR code. There's Jeremy on there. He was in class.
Hey, Jeremy, aren't you fucking driving?
And Rich, who should also be driving very safely.
Very safely, right.
All right.
Did Jeremy leave this morning?
Yeah, but he had more car trouble.
Oh.
And so Josh and I pointed out to him that, you know, my truck had some major troubles kind of right before I decided to move down here.
It's a sign, man. Jeremy, signs are everywhere.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Then Josh's car broke down like right after a trip down here.
Yeah.
Right before moving down.
Yeah. So we had just got back from Fear the first time, and then we were leaving the range, and then Lewis's truck had problems, stayed an extra night, went back to Camden, got in my car, and drove back, went to work, went home, went to work, and then car was completely done. Totaled. Fucking transmission.
Things happen here, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There are powers at work here.
Yeah.
So we've got quite a few in the room watching. So I guess we could get kind of kicked off. I guess firstly we should give an intro for Evan, for those of you guys who don't know. So some of these guys were in class with us or definitely know who you are, Evan. But for those who don't know, Evan is a radio guy, the radio made easy guy. I took my first radio class from Evan in 2023.
Yep.
And that was kind of on the earlier side of you starting to teach the formalized classes.
Yeah, I think it was like second or third one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Over in Camden?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And at that point, after that class, I went and made a video for the Tactical Response YouTube audience, explaining that I saw that class as important as fighting pistol for people who want to say that they're prepared to take care of others. And I think that has rang true. I have not stayed up and polished. I let those skills degrade, right? It's a perishable thing, and you have to stay up on it and use it. So I did let that stuff degrade to a point I'm embarrassed to say, but taking it again, I I felt like I very quickly had good understanding of the course material and was able to catch up to the point where I was helping someone program their radio
Yeah.
at the end of class. And like I did like the title of your class being Zero to Hero. Like
So you were hero quickly.
I felt like a hero when like
Well,
I was
you were
able
for
to
that
get
guy.
his radio, someone else's radio, and it wasn't just the luck of me pressing the right buttons on my radio to get it to work or
Right.
looking over someone else's shoulder.
well, I tell you what, on the scenario yesterday, he acted more like a fucking villain than a hero, but that's a separate story.
I
I was
instructed him to do that.
Yeah.
You're a good instructor because he did.
He was born for that role.
No shit.
Yeah.
We're not going to
Troublemaker.
disclose too much about what happened there, but yeah. So for me, this was first time taking Evan's class. I don't feel quite a hero, but my son is quite a hero because he was fortunate enough to also slide in there and geek out and learn, and he was super excited about it. But to double on what Lewis was saying, I don't have any radio skills other than push button and talk.
Right.
That was my thing in service. That was my thing in protection business. I was not a radio guy. I was running things, doing things, and everything was pretty much clipped on, pretty much on your
Yep.
thing.
A lot of
and
people show up with that
Yeah.
background.
and you go and you do things.
Yep.
So just going over some, even on the first day, I was kind of like, yeah, I would put it right there in line with things like, medical training. Because you may have medical training, but you need supplies and you don't know how to reach people. If things get to that point, well, I guess you're out of luck. And many other things. But it was definitely the class that, like when Chuck was here, Chuck Peoples, and now Evan, I'm like, it's in my head already, playing out the part 2 and what we're going to do about it here. Although me and Evan haven't had a hard talk about it yet, but we will.
Do it. We'll make it happen.
So it absolutely, it's a must class. What other thing I liked about it, it had no secret sauce to it of some kind of a tier 1 operator bullshit with hard rigged, $12,000 radios, and this is the way to go. What are you doing with your, $20 radios? Communicating, staying in touch, doing the things, and so I like that. Like in Chuck's medical class, it didn't have that, set up the hard LZ for the freaking helicopter to land, and none of that cosplay wannabe operator BS. So it was cool. So yes. Thumbs up. Absolutely recommend it. If you guys have not taken a radio class, Radio Made Easy, Evan's business is definitely the way to go. He's all over the country all the time. You travel, you said, with like 30 weeks out of the year?
On average, about 30 weeks a year. Yeah.
That's a lot of opportunities, guys. I tell you what, Evan is easier to catch than I am because I'm too old to travel, so I'm pretty much staying stuck to Texas. Evan is still young. He's still bouncing around like crazy.
Yeah.
And if you catch him. His classes are, we had 21 people in class, so that's nearing capacity of what Evan allows in his classes, and take it.
Be glad to have you guys for sure. It's an honor to have the positive feedback, so I appreciate that. It's always a little precarious to teach other instructors. You wonder if you're just pulling one over on the people that aren't so bright, but that is definitely not the case here, not the intent, but it's awesome that you guys got something out of it. And it was a great group of students. I was telling the guys, it's harder to stay on time when you have a good class because they're engaged, they're asking questions, we're all having a good time, and So both days ran a little extra and got some good stuff from that organic interaction I always enjoy. And it was a great time. I'll be back for sure. So, yeah, in the venue, thanks to the guys who had a perfect place to do the class, which is not always the case depending on the location. But
Well,
couldn't
next
have
time
asked
we'll
for
make
better.
sure we have more tables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it worked out great.
So we've got a comment here from Krantz.
Who hasn't had the class?
Krantz,
Fix yourself.
I think you might come to Detroit soon. If I heard right.
Well,
July.
he's close enough, I guess. He should make at least that one.
Yeah.
But yes, that's...
Well, you walk away with a radio you know how to program. We don't program it in class custom for your location. You know how the heck to do it. And in your sleep or with Nick's help in Sonny's case.
Right. Well, thankfully for me, I don't have to pay Nick. You know, I
Right,
just tell
right.
him.
That's right.
Yes, it's his practice. He gets
Yeah,
good
he's
at
gotta
it.
get
I wouldn't be
reps and-
surprised if, like, in 2 years, he's going to go like, hey, Dad, can you talk to Evan if he needs, like, you know, his classes are growing bigger, if he needs, like, an assistant instructor. I'm going to have to
all about
slap
it.
him upside the head and go like, dude, you haven't finished yet, chef. You know,
Yeah.
being assistant chef. And
Oh,
now
he's
you,
a chef. I didn't know that. Wow.
dude, the
Yeah.
meals he makes now, I'm like, shit, I'm keeping him way past 18 in the house.
Yeah. That's sweet.
Yeah, it was. So you said it. I forget which college words you used for teaching with other instructors in the class, but
Precarious. Yeah.
yes, but
That's $5 word.
like as an instructor in your class, I'm thinking to myself, what a great job you do in controlling the class or herding the cats, for lack of a better term, as a one-man instructor show with a bunch of stuff going on,
And
all
personalities too, right?
And and all these different personalities and sidetrack questions, and you know, well, I have a 50-foot antenna.
As much, if not more, than the content, like the challenge of 21 personalities all bursting at the seams to talk.
Did it come to you naturally, or like with time you kind of, you know, fine-tuned your, so to speak,
it's funny the
hammer lines and all that, you know?
Oh, that, like the comedy, is that what you mean? Or?
No, just like what Lewis was asking, you know, because you have different personalities. Someone, you know, asks simple questions. Somebody asks a question with 10-minute freaking story that's 90% of it is irrelevant, but you have that, not a, you know, it's not embarrassing way, but soft, funny, sarcastic, grown-up man kind of way of go like, sit down.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. My life, I felt like this at a lot of places that I felt like I was unconsciously being prepared for the next thing. You know, in the trenches of this, I needed that for the next one. And you would have never been able to convince me of that at that time, but now in retrospect, it's like, oh, that's why. So 10 years as a marriage counselor and a Christian counselor with all kinds of, I mean, I probably counseled over 400 people in over 10 years. So, and a lot of it over Zoom since COVID. So with the couples, there's a lot of conflict and, you know, emotions and ego, and then even individuals, a lot of times it's a sparring.
Yeah.
And then one of my first jobs out of college was answering a phone at a car parts business that wasn't good about sending the things that were ordered. So it's usually very angry people calling. And so de-escalation and, you know, all that kind of, I was in the trenches for all that, I guess. And then,
so you acquire those skills without knowing that you will have to use them, I think, on this side of the fence.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Cool.
So
pretty cool.
I don't, and then the reps. I mean, that it's over 80 times I've taught that class, usually to 15 to 30 people. So I wasn't comfortable till I had done it 20 times, but now I'm like pumped
Yeah.
to go do it.
Yeah, like I
and this
think
is my excited face, by the way. So
Damn.
on that class 2 or 3, you gave more leash to folks with the like. All right, so
I wasn't as assertive.
Here we are talking about our handheld radio, and like hand would go up like, I have a 50-foot tower on the side of my lake. I'm trying to bounce something off of Saturn to be able to talk to Austria. Like, how do I do that?
Right.
At least they didn't ask about Uranus, you know.
Yeah. So
bouncing off Uranus, you know.
I think it seemed from this class's flow that you'd redirect that.
Yeah, that
much
experience
quicker.
With that for sure, and knowing the consequence of not doing it, and even notice the advice I give to you guys, like the social advice, the interpersonal advice on operating a net. That's the same thing. Like knowing if you don't nip this now, somebody that gives a speech when they were supposed to give a brevity code, it will become a competition to see who can be the cutest. If you don't. So I'm taking my own advice, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I love that dynamic because I know a lot of people, they don't train a lot. They don't, and if they haven't been in school, that might be the first time they've sat in a class in decades or a long time. So, and people are weird on top of that. You're all welcome to class, right? We'll sort it out. But I think that's probably a lot of it is people they're eager. They don't know how to listen well, and we can work with that. But
your control of the class was amazing.
That's pretty fun.
Pretty cool.
I can only imagine that. Yeah, the ham radio license guys, they don't usually show up based on like my marketing and the way I present myself, the way the course description reads. Like if you are that guy,
look at his sweatshirt.
I haven't had one be real argumentative yet. I've had some fearful ones like, are you sure we can do this? What about ... And we handle that fine, but I don't have ham snobs showing up. Yeah, the shirt or the hoodie is my sentiment about ham radio for sure.
What's funny about it, at the end of the class, the speech that you gave about, licensing and all that stuff,
Right.
will probably actually surprise the shit out of some of those guys because they think you completely.
I have no idea. Yeah,
exactly.
And I won't go into the detail here about what I offer to people, but nobody offers what I offer to anyone on earth to get licensed. I encourage it, but I'm not going to not teach you before. That's the big difference, right? I'm going to teach you everything you need to know before you have it, not after. Yeah. So don't do it.
Don't go about 5 watt.
They'll find you. We talk a lot about that. Their ability to find you. It's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Cool.
Radio on.
And Josh has been in the class a couple of times, right? That's the third time you've been in it in some capacity.
Yes. Yeah. So I still make mistakes, kind of like Lewis said. Things like I should know, I didn't. So driving down here, when I moved down here, I was doing a convoy. And I've got a radio. All my other shit was packed up. And I was like, great. Because then my dad's driving the moving truck.
Okay.
And then, he's got to pull off for some reason. And then he just whips it off the highway.
A mystery of why.
And then he's trying to text me because he has text to speech and I don't. So I don't look at my phone when I'm going 75 miles an hour.
Right.
So I was like, oh shit, what do I got to do? And I was like, oh, I got this radio. That'd be nice. Oh, never mind. Because I had one.
Yeah, one radio.
The rest were packed up.
Just like that story that you told in class. The guy has the latest gear and the great radio and all that.
Yep.
And his dead, battery's not charged, doesn't know where the charger is, but he has a radio.
Right. and no plan, nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
Everybody he loves don't know nothing about radio. Yeah, that's a failure if you're the only one that knows. But I mean, that's more of a gear problem. What you ran into, it sounds like, is like just not having that accessible to you. But
Yeah.
you would have figured it out. Something I recently went to. I take radio classes too. Everyone I can find that to learn more, see what I'm missing, and I went to Brush Beater RTO a couple months ago, I guess at this point. And one of the things he focuses a little bit on CB, and one of the points he makes about CB is you can still put together a well-appointed radio system at any truck stop in America with a couple $100, and they've got it all right there on the shelf. You can get an antenna, power cable, radio. It's not going to be epic, in capability, but that's a good point. That like it's one of the only abundant radio systems out there. About any town in America, you're less than 30 minutes from a truck stop or a CB shop or something. So that's pretty cool. But Convoy, special place in my heart to use radios. It's probably my favorite way is like in vehicles, vehicle to vehicle, for sure. Huge benefit to have it in the truck or the car.
All right. So for some people that may not know, so besides Zero to Hero radio operator course, you teach two other classes, right?
Yep.
Again, for people that may not know about it, well, first of all, they should check the website, which is radiomadeeasy.com, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that's right.
What can you tell about the other two classes? I know one of them is called the number 3, I guess, would be the Urban Exodus, right?
Yeah.
But then the second one is a tactical something.
You have to control it on the.
I see. Okay, so if you go to the training tab, I know it's tough, but that is where you go to look at the classes. Most of our schedule is Zero to Hero, which is the class we did here. It's the intro, start from nothing. But tactical radio operator, it might be getting a name change because I know the
tactical word.
The tactical meaning of that word for most people, the connotation is like cool guy stuff, like plate carriers and night vision and rifles. It's not that. This is a scenario-based class from start to finish. We only do a half day of scenario in Zero to Hero. So this starts with a prereq for Zero to Hero. You show up, I know, you already know the basics. I can throw stuff at you. We can start doing stuff with radios. So when I say tactical radio operator, and we talk about it in class, what I mean is people that have radios and are doing stuff with them, right? Like they're tactically using it to do work, not necessarily with guns, not necessarily with cool guy stuff. But that class is actually like mostly fun, right? It's mostly team dynamics, problem solving, taking shoestring and duct tape and trying to do stuff with it. It's I recently got up to speed on MacGyver. It's a MacGyver class. We do a little bit of field craft, making ways to how can I put it without saying too much? Ways to monitor things that you can't put your eyes on. Ways to make longer distant contacts, ways to overcome obstacles, and it's a 48-hour scenario. So every class is different. We plan it pretty heavily based on the location and our resources. So every time it's offered, it's a new opportunity. That's one that you could retake 10 times. It'd be different every time, depending on the people that show up and the problems that happen. That one's a blast. It's also a challenge to fill it because it's only Zero to Hero alumni that are invited. So I get emails every week. Can I skip Zero to Hero because I already have my ham license? I already know a lot about just like for advanced firearms class. You say, well, I already have my NRA instructor certificate. Can I skip your 5 levels and go straight to the top? I'm sure y'all hear it. So no, you can't skip anything. And mainly because I need to know you and you need to know me before you come to this class, because you are not going to be comfortable in this class until you've had the first one, and you'll know whether or not you want to take it after the first one. Because you may not be comfortable with some of the stuff we do, based on your understanding and comfort with rules. We acknowledge the rules.
We, we also don't talk super negative things about rules.
Nope,
No,
not at all. We
they
we
exist.
acknowledge them to their fullest necessary intent. So that's the second level class. I'd love to come bring it out here for the crew. This would be a fun place to do it. Everywhere. I've done it in urban environments, super rural environments. Did it in Allentown at Mike Fiore's house in a suburban/urban environment. All of them are fun. They're all different. And then the one you mentioned, Sonny, Urban Exodus. This is not a radio class at all. This is a 4-day bug out simulation.
Wow.
Starts in a city. You bring what you bring, and you got to bug out and manage all that for 3-4 days with the people you've got and work with them to solve problems. There is some radio involved to, get in touch with family. We train you as we challenge you, and we're kind of in there with you part of the time, and then we let you do your thing part of the time. But this is very scenario driven, very planning heavy. We have to anticipate the different choices students will make and have a way to deal with what they choose. So we need all 1,000 combinations of, if they turn left, we do this. If they turn right, we do that. And it's cool for us as instructors, but it's from the students that have taken it. They're like, there's nothing in the world like this. There's nothing where you can go actually see with instructors watching and helping you and opposition forces in place and stuff like that, seeing if you can really bug out and, handle the basics of, the things you would need to handle. It exposes what you're not going to be prepped for. It gives you more confidence in what you already know. It's a lot of fun. I've had people come from all over the country to take it, looking for that. We do it once a year. Starts in Springfield.
How many have you run so far?
Just two.
Two.
Just two.
So this will be 3.
Yeah, and this will be the best one so far. We learn every time.
Yeah.
We're like, wow, now I see what we could do. So we have a meeting every month for several hours, jamming ideas and documenting what we're going to do. I work with this project with Downtown Tactical, which is Graham Hunt, who owns that. And they're near Springfield. They're in Long Lane, Missouri. And that's...
that seems like a crazy value for training as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like
$897 for basically 4-day.
Right?
Yeah.
That seems.
And that's the last year it'll be that cheap. Actually, they're on
Good.
me about
Yeah.
raising it to something more like $1,500
Yeah.
just because of the labor involved, and we have tons of material we have to provide.
Well, and
But it's,
the potential risk management too.
Oh yeah,
Well, and the
Yeah.
experience, like you describing the experience of that class, it sounds like
Like a mini SEER course, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Kind of, yeah.
easily a course that could be double that price.
Yep.
Or triple.
Agreed.
and it's what my dream for sold the team on. We all have our own ideas of what it should be, but what I've always felt passionate about is I want it to feel like you stepped into that real life thing, right? It's an experience, like, the Joe Rogan experience, but like it's the Urban Exodus experiment or experience. And then it feels like it flows, like you're a part of a story, right? Not a lesson chopped up into units in a curriculum. It's not like that. You show up, there's a story you're a part of. You can go there in your mind. The rest of the world's not participating, obviously, so that makes it challenging. But we make that work. There's some ways to still make that happen. It's really cool. I wish I could take it. Most of my classes I wish I could take because they're built for me. They're built as what I wanted but never could find.
Funny you say that.
Yeah.
I want to take fear inoculum too,
Yeah. Yeah.
So in my mind, I would have to look at your schedule and all that, but for some reason in my mind, what's circling now, I'm like, what if somewhere around March Madness 2027, we looked into doing 0 to Hero, followed by a few other things, and then followed by the tactical radio operator.
That'd be cool.
That way, people that take
You
0
get a
to
chance for
Hero,
both.
especially if they're somewhat local,
Mhm.
they can take a week off, let's say when we're doing fear inoculum, and then come back, take the tactical radio operator.
I like to do them together. Unfortunately, I usually have to do them back to back because that's the preference of the host. But you need a few sleep cycles, probably.
Oh yeah,
To
we'll
let
put
your
fear
brain-
inoculum
Yeah.
in between
Yeah.
that. They'll be well rested, man.
Perfect.
Right, sounds like
Yeah.
it.
You will be rested.
I will.
They won't, which is cool.
Yeah, I don't need the sleep cycles. It's the students, so they'll
Yeah.
be just beat to death. It'll be great.
Good.
But I think it's pretty necessary to offer it back to back just so you get a chance to do it if you haven't had that chance. But
We'll talk about it.
yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
great.
that
I know.
sounds
just-
I try
just
to
an
plan
idea.
about 6 months out, so nothing's going to block it for next March. I don't have anything on there, so it's totally fine.
We will be talking here shortly.
Cool.
You guys have any questions for Evan? Because I know that there are people out there, and I don't know if any of them are on here or whatnot, but I've seen some comments here and there, and not necessarily about Evan's class or whatnot.
Yeah.
But there are people that go like, why don't you just, go through these channels and get licensed and all that, and you're going to avoid this and that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, guys. It's the way I look at it is like we were joking about it, licensed, right? NRA certified or Tactical Police Officer Association certified or this and that.
That's really a thing.
I don't know. In reality, to me, like I had hundreds of those people.
Yeah.
In my field, and it doesn't mean squat. Actually, there's this like fragmentation, separation because they have a piece of paper, and they may have knowledge and sometimes even understanding, but abilities like to adapt are not there,
Sure.
and they stiff. They like freaking I don't know, like a shopping mall taekwondo black belt coming into impactology, going like, why you guys move like that? And I go like, well, it doesn't fit your scenario. You stabbed me wrong, and they fall apart because they create that perfect order in their head that they think world will somehow automatically will comply with and
Right.
reciprocate,
Right.
and then life happens.
That's very similar. A highly educated and experienced ham radio operator is going to have, a perfectly appointed ham shack with all the right equipment. He's tested it thoroughly. He's worked it every night, and it's like
His,
And it's
wife,
beautiful,
his
too.
wife lets him keep that in the garage.
That's right. And then you show up to my class and I toss you an $18 radio and I'm like, ready, set, go. And they're like, what?
Yeah,
So
ready, set, go.
and they tend to get there by the end, but at first I think they're kind of caught off guard when we get to the doing, that they're not quite as good as they thought. I know a lot of people think I'm blowing smoke when I tell the class at the end of day one, like, you have competently manually programmed a repeater into a bow thing. There's quite literally almost no one on earth that can do that successfully. Like, it's an elite
Skill.
group of people to
So
be
we're
in.
basically tier 1 operators.
Sadly, yes. Like, I
That's
don't
awesome.
even mean to
I think you should have some swag.
exaggerate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Tier 1 Baofeng.
if
operator.
only that meant something, that doing that made you competent. But just doing that, most people have done it with a computer. They've never done it by hand, and they wouldn't know where to begin. There's intricacies on that radio that you don't learn unless you screw it up.
But the big thing, like I actually really appreciated the flow of going from manual, and all on day 2 you showed how to do it,
Yep.
with your computer. And I'm not saying I can do it very confidently and quickly on manual now, but I really appreciated that flow because, if I'm rocking out of New Summerfield, Texas,
Right.
I
You're not
may
taking a
not have
laptop.
opportunity to stop at the Starbucks to plug in my laptop
Right.
and change the settings.
Yep. That's
and it was,
and for the guys that like the gun stuff, when you show up to a class or the range and the dude that brought his brand new radio needs it to work, you don't have chirp. You don't have a computer. You're going to have to do it by hand. So
it's kind of similar. I also noticed when I was in the fire department as a paramedic, because paramedic is somewhere there on the low end of things. Then you have the registered nurse, and then you
Okay,
have the
yeah.
doctor, then you have the surgeon, right?
right.
And it was funny because while traveling on a couple occasions, I ran into emergency situations as a paramedic, and there was a doctor present in one case on the airplane.
Okay.
And
During an emergency.
during
Okay.
an emergency, a cardiac emergency.
Okay.
And the doctor's suggestion would have killed the passenger.
Ooh.
He's a doctor. He's an MD.
Right. What kind of MD is a big question too, right?
He said
Okay.
he actually did 7 years in emergency room.
Okay.
ER, 7 years in emergency. Now he had some other specialty.
Sure,
he moved
sure.
on or whatever. But I'm like, it's
He's
a
just-
certain cardiac condition and certain things are counterindicated.
Okay.
And he just goes like, well, it feels like it's slow, so he needs to get this and that.
Right,
and I
right.
go like, why is it slow? And you're like, well, what does it matter? I go like, well, maybe there's a malfunction in his pacer or something like that. And pacer indicates certain cardiac conditions that certain things may be counterindicated. And he's like looking at me like, and what is your level of training? I'm like, paramedic. And then
Well,
wife.
but why is that though? What do you think? I think I know why, but what do you?
I
think?
know why.
Yeah.
I know why. It's because you
You're
have
in the
like,
trenches doing stuff all the time.
I mean, honestly, if something happened to my family, I don't want a paramedic coming in when the car is halfway submerged trying to intubate my family member
Sure.
while car is sitting sideways. I do want that dirty freaking paramedic doing it because he's probably done it or at least trained that way, do
Right.
inline intubations and all that. That dog has freaking 3 registered nurses giving him sterilized equipment to do it on the flat table with perfect lighting and all that.
Well, and like anybody who's gone to the hospital knows, they just come.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, not to say that that's a bad person. It's just different capabilities. But yeah, we're more oriented toward training you on the doing. So everybody walks away with a very good opportunity to have become competent. If they don't, it's because they did not pay attention or didn't try. But there is an opportunity to be very competent. And I think, I mean, we've had great feedback, so I think people are shocked at how much they can learn. And I don't really drown you either. I spend the first half of the first day basically selling you on how cool radio is. Like, that's what I try to do.
It wasn't a hard sale.
Yeah.
It wasn't a hard sale. It was actually well articulated. It's not a sale, I think, for most people is an explanation that they haven't considered. It's like,
Right.
like selling people on hand-to-hand skills. Why you need hand-to-hand skills? I mean, you walk with a gun, right?
Yeah.
And you go like, well, how many times in the last 5 years you had a conflict with somebody called you this or that, you would have been okay morally, legally, in many other ways to use a gun.
Mm-hmm. Never.
Yeah. Pretty much for most people, that is
Yeah.
the answer. And thank God, most of their lives, they're going to go like this.
Right.
But somehow that confidence that carrying a piece of plastic and metal on your hip that gives people, they think that they're ready for anything that comes.
Sure. Makes sense. Same with carrying a phone.
Yeah. Hey, I got it, man.
So we got in Anduril.
I can't
I'm
think
trying
of who
to
that
think
is,
who
but it
that
looks
would
familiar.
Yeah,
It's probably an email address I've seen.
yeah.
But
we don't want to blow his OPSEC.
be. Yeah,
right.
we don't want to blow his OPSEC.
He wants to be in for tactical.
So I'm assuming he has taken, since he was listening, he has taken 0 to hero. So that's good.
Yeah, cool.
All right.
There was a question up here. Adam Hall asking any plans for Mesh-tastic and or ATAC class.
No. We use Mesh-tastic in the tactical class now. We did in the last one. I finally feel like it's drifting into the stable territory and usable territory, but I wouldn't. Now, again, tactical in my vernacular is not what you're thinking for ATAC, right? So, like, you do not want to run around with a gun on wearing a mesh device. It's like wearing a beacon. Like, here I am, here I am, here I am, here I am all day, every day. So don't do that, please. But for what we use it for, it's for continuity of communication for regular people, right? So, like, my grandma next door knows how to text. So now instead of opening the iMessage app, she opens the Mesh app and texts. I don't have to train her on a new thing. I don't have to give her any kind of special equipment. I just set this device up in the backyard, Bluetooth it to her phone, and now she can text with no cellular. We build our own cell network, right? But that's not for running and gunning and guerrilla warfare. But I don't have a dedicated class for it. I'm not the guy for that, number one, but I don't know that I believe in it enough to dedicate a class to it just yet. But it's an ATAC. I got no exposure to it. All the cool guys are using it, which means give it like 5 years to be mature enough. I don't know. I don't know what I would do with it.
It could easily be another one of those beacons.
Well, ATAC itself is just the app that you interact with it on. Mesh. It can run over Mesh. It can run over Silva systems. It can run over this radio. There's a guy that builds a plug-in that you can do ATAC over $150 two-way radio. But
do you mind explaining what an ATAC is for those who may not be aware of what it is?
I'll take a stab at it. Again, it's not my expertise, but I would, what my understanding is it's a resource manager. I can plot everybody on a map. I can message each other. I can share files. I can keep tabs on my crew. It's a tactical awareness kit. So, it's a dedicated app built by the government for managing soldiers.
Yeah.
And there's CivTac for civilians, ATAC for military, but it's
for the real dudes.
Super interesting, like what it does. But I always ask why. It's like, why? What problem are we trying to solve? And in my life, I don't have a lot of motivation for it. But I mean, if I was trying to manage, I don't know what you call a group of soldiers, a regiment. If I was managing a bunch of people running an operation from a helicopter above, and I needed to see I think people that like video games like it a lot because it feels like the thing you can see in a video game. I don't play video games.
So you feel like General Mattis running takeover of Mogadishu.
Right.
Yeah.
It's again, that's all risk. Like I got an inch deep understanding of it. So
something
don't
tells
take
me
my word for it.
The just general first gut feeling is if fighting near peer, I'm going to want to go ahead and leave my Apple Watch and like anything else that sends out a signal.
Everybody that's getting blown up now, they're found by their phone. That's it.
Yeah.
But again, another thing I should emphasize, I don't have that background, and that's not the way I teach. I'm teaching regular people how to talk to the people they care about, or how to talk to other people in an emergency to solve problems. I'm not training soldiers. You could apply a lot of what I've taught you, I'm sure. That's not my lens. And most of the radio world and training is trying to teach it with a military bent. I don't. This is for you and your neighbors.
Actually, that's what I appreciated most about the class, because it wasn't geared towards the cosplay. Well, along the same lines,
I just
actually,
don't play that.
yeah, it's a question for all of you guys here at the table. So any skill you take, if you take like individual skill, individual competence of the person, and then you integrate that into some kind of a team environment. Let's say we play scenario like we did on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Is it likely to fall apart and go into a shit basket quickly because not well enough integration of the team members, or a weakest link in the team who completely loses it?
Say again.
So you have team of 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Good, excellent, expert, shithead.
At everything or a certain thing, or okay, just
Let's just take one specific skills.
Okay, one skill.
You know, they all good shooters. They all physically fit.
Okay.
They all have medical skills and gear and all that stuff. They all have communication equipment. This guy is a shithead in using comms. They doing the team task, whatever that task is, whether it's pew-pew or medical evac or finding someone or something innocent. You know, what's more likely to fall apart if the whole operation, the whole mission or scenario to fall apart is because of that one single guy, or because the team does not work well? My guess, that's the culprit.
Yeah. One dude.
If that guy was not a shithead, he's
Yeah.
above the shithead level. Team can still do the things.
All it takes is one dude with his sling on his push to talk button the entire time.
Right.
Mhm.
And you can cost
Yeah.
Everybody's fucked.
or everything they hog the attention of the 3 other guys to come fix the thing they can't fix, and then that
No, and then they panic,
dominoes,
right? And
right.
OPSEC goes out, and
Sure.
other things go
Definitely
out, and
see
brevity
that
falls out. And, you know, I've seen it in other environments where people go like, well, we have a bunch of average guys, and the team operates above average. I can see that. But if I got into certain areas, the guys that are average in general tasks,
Yeah.
but then they have specialty where they are way above average at expert level. Okay. It's geometrical progression. It's a force multiplier.
Yep. And then in the reverse, kind of my philosophy with radio to encourage people on that too, why you need to learn the dead simple basic radios, even if you have the best stuff, is it all falls to the lowest common denominator. So you got 8 squared away dudes with encrypted DMR, P25, cool guy stuff, and the 9th guy shows up with one of these. Guess what you're running?
Mhm.
Analog FM.
On all 9.
Yep. Because if you want him coming, if you want his help, and
But what if he's the only good medic?
right, and chances are he's bringing something to the table if you're willing. But that's why you're better to know how to do it on the old school stuff, the simple stuff, how to be effective. I'm not a Luddite. Like, I love the cool stuff, but don't depend on it. This is more for like emergency.
Was that in reference to the ATAC?
Yeah.
Could be.
that he
I
was-
could totally see it for that, like plotting resources on a map, and
Yeah.
like the talk
Like
you
a
guys
horse,
had to run.
a horse
Yeah.
trailer
EOC.
over here. Like, we need a little icon or
Exactly.
emoji for a horse
Got a-
Yeah,
trailer.
with some 4
Generator
pages
for
into
sale
it, and
here.
I'm like, where's that Esther, you know, old lady that was lost?
I'm totally Hazel. That was,
Hazel, not Esther.
that was
Sorry.
my old my belated great grandmother, so
Right.
named after her, Hazel Pittman. Yeah, but I could see that, Adam. Like, it. I don't mean to denigrate it as a useless thing. I just mean your average person. I should have considered the source of the question, but your average person that's excited or interested in ATAC wants it. They want an EUD, an end user device on their plate carrier right here that folds down, and they can look at maps and play a video game while they're doing in
airsoft.
full multicam and like that. And I'm sure it's cool. That's just, I'm not into that.
Thank you.
I'm sure there's very cool stuff you can do with it. So it's just not my wheelhouse. It will be someday. I've really tried to nail down my one class. Like, and I watch a lot of people do a lot of classes all at once. And I've put my heart and soul into what I've got. Pretty happy with it. But I am venturing out at my peril, right? So like this is the first year I've offered tactical more than once in a year. So, you know, I'm kind of stretching my wings a little bit to do it more, but I'm going to grow the curriculum slowly around here. Mainly cuz it's just me and I'm kind of dumb.
Jurors are out on that one.
Israeli pager. What is an Israeli pager? I need
The ones that
that.
explode.
Oh, those were radios.
No, the pagers that
Pagers
explode.
and radios.
And
Yeah.
radios.
That was like the longest game ever, man. That was
Tooth
impressive.
fillings where they got the dentists in Iran to commit medical malpractice, but it's totally cool and not technically
They
a war
put
crime.
bombs in tooth fillings.
Well, no, they put like GPSs in their tooth fillings for
Holy
like
moly,
to do airstrikes on all the leadership.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We don't when we talk about field craft, that's that's a couple notches above what we do, but it's similar. You've been there for that, right? Like we use
They might not
the
let
mouse
us do
traps
stuff like
and-
that.
Yeah. It was impressive
mind.
that if you freak everybody out about using their phone and say you got to use radios, but then you put bombs in the radios and sell them to those people, that's a trip.
Yeah, indeed. Well, you know, and then of course you see Bibi standing there in front of United Nations and go like, "You all have your cell phones. Look at him. You're carrying a piece of Israel." When you fucking everybody throws their phones away.
Yeah, that could be dangerous. Yep. All right. What else are we missing? You are only as strong as Rich is right about. I mean, usually that's going to be what pulls you down. That's what Sonny was saying. But there's a lot of cliches and all that. I mean, I'm not against having some kind of not so bright dudes that can lift heavy stuff or watch the door for me while I sleep or something, but yeah, it can be rough.
So, you have any like crazy stories from specifically Zero to Hero radio operator course where someone would do something that would just blow your lid and go like, "What the?" Good or bad? Like super stupid or very unexpected, where person comes up with some kind of a solution to where you go like,
Yeah. So I can tell two come to mind. This class, and I'm not just blowing smoke again. This class, when we run our final, I handed a man pack to the people going mobile to set up in their truck to go in the convoy. And I set it up ahead of time for them because we haven't trained on that radio. So I program all the mobile radios and hand it to you. All you should have to do is turn it on and start talking. So they go out, put it in, do a comms check. They get nothing. And I didn't know this was going on. They didn't say anything over the handhelds. They're just sitting outside in the parking lot. They could have asked for help.
in pretty heavy rain too.
Yeah, we ordered the rain to come right as we started. But both teams took my advice. Part of my philosophy is standardize on BNC connectors, all your VHF, UHF gear, which is, line of sight comms, standardize on one type of antenna connection so it all works. Sure enough, they pop that man pack out, stick their handheld on the same connector on the roof mounted antenna and program it to the base station frequency, and they got comms up. And I was like, well, we're only going 3 miles for this one, so let's roll. Just roll with that. And they made it work. And and I did not do anything. They just informed us, here's what we did, and that was really cool. And those were all newbies. None of those students were retaking the class. None of them were like pros when they showed up, but they thought through the problem, solved it, and it worked to the destination and all the way back, no problem. That was cool to see.
Well, needless to say, one of them, John, he's like a groupie. He follows you on all the.
That's true. He was one of them. He was one of them.
Well,
but
John,
I think
John was a team lead on the vehicle.
But I think the guy that figured it at first was Clem.
Clem, yeah.
Right, and he's not super up on radio, so he came up with that solution first, and then I guess, and what I think happened was a leftover setting from the previous class. I didn't change. I warn everybody, I don't create problems on purpose in this class, because you don't have to. There's no need. There's no need to make intentional problems. There's 21 problem makers, and then the whole world out there doing it too. So, we had a hailstorm and my idiot programming and a bunch of goons running around. That was cool.
What setting would that have been, or what?
So
do you know?
They said it was lighting up, like receiving,
but no sound.
What is it?
Tone.
It's a tone problem. And if you take the class, you'll find out I'm a really big fan of using tones to exclude traffic that you don't want to hear, to help you not have interference and not have annoying sounds or potentially people who are intentionally interfering. It's not a security thing at all, but I really encourage that. So that's how we run that last scenario, and it was probably set to the wrong receive tone or the wrong transmit tone on the other radio. So it was hearing signal but not playing the sound. And because it happened on both radios, I'm almost positive that's what it is. So that's a good story. I already told you all this bad story, but if you're out there, one of my friends is the source of this. I won't name you, but the reason we run 3 frequencies on our final scenario is because of this friend of mine who was put in charge of security for our final scenario. And he ran nonstop round-robin check-ins with the security people the entire time we were on this mission.
On the single channel.
On the same channel as the tactical teams out doing the mission, and they weren't far enough for it not to be heard, so they couldn't talk on their radios. They were basically useless because of nothing.
But base was very secure.
Yeah, you could say that. So it was kind of one of those like, hey, we don't need a bunch of frequencies. This is a real simple mission. Why don't we just go on one big happy channel? And then I quickly realized, oh, well, that could be a problem, because cool thing with radio and the downside with radio is it's one at a time. So if somebody's occupying it, you got to wait your turn. And that usually ends up being a problem. But in that case, it was a real exaggerated. Those are not like cool, sexy, book-worthy examples. I can't think of anything very epic that was bad. But I know it's always interesting. That's for sure.
You didn't have to radio whip somebody. Like
they usually do that when they take it out of the bag. I say, like, wait for me to tell you. Don't do anything until I say, and then I hear, wow! Because we coil up these antennas, and if you let it, this one especially, it has a glow-in-the-dark tip, and that sucker.
I did the, UD with antenna, but I did it in the same direction.
UD.
You know what I mean? So it kind of went outwards, not towards me.
UD. I have UD today.
We're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, that was that's a common one for sure. I'm trying to think. I did use the med bag one time. We do a medical plan for class, and this guy ripped his arm open. He had that lizard skin you get when you're like 70, where you touch an 80 grit piece of sandpaper and you've got a 4-inch deep wound in your arm. So he was helping put an antenna up and ripped his arm open. And I had a paramedic in that class too, and he was never more excited to use all of my gauze on this poor little guy. But nothing too crazy. Not yet. We like to keep it fairly tame for the first one. Now, tactical. You were at the one where the UPS driver comes or the Amazon driver comes, and there's a 50 cal aimed at the entrance of the driveway, and 2 guys with AKs guarding the gate. And I'm pretty sure he crapped his pants. Because it was just like a rural class in rural Ohio. That's despite what you think of Ohio, that's not normal. So not yet, at least, not yet.
Well, Mansfield is different.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet.
Don't.
John is very helpful. That's good.
He said he talked to somebody 40 miles away. I think John, 40 miles away. That was a little earlier.
Oh, I see. Oh, at the top there, Jay's Outdoors. JK Outdoor ADV.
Actually, I think JK Outdoor is in that. James?
Yeah, it should be James.
Yeah, that's James.
Oh,
so he
got
talked.
it.
So
Okay.
he talked to John over. Yeah, because John lives up north from here.
I see. Okay. Cool. And James was the Marine in class?
Yeah, 1 of 3. 1 of 4. Yeah.
Right. He had like the colored glasses.
Yeah, what does he call those?
Oh,
CB
birth control glasses.
Birth control glasses. Yeah.
Well, I had a good moment with him in the final. He was all stressed about his radio, and I said, take a deep breath. And he's the only person I've ever said that to who literally stopped and went, he did it. Like, and then I was like, wow. And then he fixed the problem. I was like, bro, come on, man. I usually mean it more like
Mentally.
conceptually, take a deep breath. He did that. I was like, sweet.
Well, he's been training with me for us.
I could tell immediately.
For 8 months now.
Like,
So when I tell people to take a breath, they take it very literally.
He did. I was like, holy moly, I gotta watch what I say around these people. It was not meant to be literal, but it worked actually. So I'm thinking about taking a deep breath every once in a while now.
Oh, man.
Strongly advised. Yeah, it's funny how breathing works.
I didn't realize how that story was going to land until it was coming out of my mouth, and I remembered where I was.
Harsh reminder.
Right. So
it's funny.
Do you want to take everybody on a tour of we did the training tab?
Sure.
But other things on your website, like
a good thing to know if you're watching this and you want to spend money. This radio that you can't see on the table because it's postage stamp size. Any of the top 3 radios under radio packages come with a free foul weather whip until tomorrow. So if you add one of these to your cart, like this is normally, if you add it this way, it's $45. But right now, if you add it to cart like this, you'll notice that a code called gets automatically applied. And if you check it, it'll say St. Patrick's Day or St. Patrick. That means you get a free foul weather whip. So that is on here for free. It's normally $45. It only works with the top 3 ones. So no, if you only get a Baofeng, you don't get a free $45 antenna. But these 3, these are all our handhelds. We used to only do one handheld, but we've expanded a little bit. So there's lots of cool stuff on the market now. This is my favorite new radio, the UV Pro. It does a bunch of cool stuff. It's submersible, Bluetooth controllable. I was causing some chaos with that radio during some exercises this weekend. It's a lot of fun. We have some economical stuff too. So if you need to get it out to a bunch of people or whatever, we've got the Mini, which is neat. It's a kind of toy-like, but it's very capable. And then, of course, the one Baofeng to rule them all, the UV5R. So we have handhelds. have mobile radios. Sorry, I'm not used to the fast scroller, so I'm totally retarding it up here. These two radios are for vehicles or your house, base station or vehicle. I'm not going to get in the nitty gritty, but those are cool. And then we've got some HF radios that do really long range stuff. Tends to be a little less understandable when you're getting started, but HF is a miracle in and of itself too. So the cool thing about what we do that you may not be used to is we program every radio custom to your location. So when you get it, normally when you buy a radio, it means you got a project. When you buy a radio from us, it's ready to go. You take it out of the box and do stuff with it. So
you do it based on location of
Yep.
the customer that orders it?
They're
That's
all
cool.
custom programmed on location. And then we curate accessories, and this is not loading properly on Safari. So this is also a quality control testing session for me. But what did I do?
Yep.
All right. So, the other thing we do is allow you to pick a bunch of stuff to go with it that you would normally have to buy from 8 or 9 places. It's like a curated accessory pool. So it's a value that we try to bring. I inventory things that you would normally have to pay shipping, 7 or 8 times, and it's all coming out of our shop, and we employ 3 other American families to run the business. Sold thousands upon thousands of radios, and that's what we do. So comes set up, comes ready to use. We have all the accessories too. So if you want to upgrade your existing stuff, you can narrow it down by what radio you've got. But one of the more popular things, there we go. One of the more popular things I'm pretty proud of are these cheat sheets we sell that are laser engraved in-house on aluminum. So it tells you how to do all the important stuff on your radio. It's waterproof, tear-proof, often imitated, never replicated. I wrote these instructions, they're not copied out of the manual, which is very different. And there's legible, helpful instructions and a frequency reference list for the important stuff you would want.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Like add to your radio pouch, have it actually,
Yeah.
if you're a tactical operator, have it in your vest right next to
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm pretty proud of. We've sold hundreds of those, and we make them, right? So there's something cool about making the stuff and, direct to consumer. It comes right out of my shop. I'm not just passing it along. There's another cool thing I designed, this MOLLE mount for your antenna. So this was not made for plate carriers and for running one of your handheld radio antennas. It was made for if I've got a radio down in the bag and I want a nice solid connection for my mag mount or my throw up antenna in the tree. It's right there waiting on me, right? It's low profile, clip it to PALS webbing. We've got 2, 3, and 5-inch options. This is a 2-inch that covers 2 rows of PALS webbing. But a lot of guys are using it to mount their antenna like on their shoulder strap of a chest rig. It kind of works for that, but you look like a dork. And looking like a dork is a dangerous thing. So, we got cool stuff. Go shop around. We're about to drop a really cool new website feature where it will guide you through a survey to the right radio instead of having to call me and do an hour-long consultation, which, by the way, you can do from the homepage. I offer 1-hour consultation for $100, and you get $50 of it back towards your purchase.
Wow.
Or if I like you, I might give you all of it back. Or if I don't like you, I'll give you none of it back. But you can book an hour of my time right here. right on my calendar. It's not like email me for 4 weeks to find the time. You just book it. We do an hour on Zoom, whatever you need. Instead of having to do this, I will have a virtual version of me with the basics to help you get, okay, what's the right tool for the job based on your answers.
But they can still do the consult after that. If they
Absolutely.
want to go deeper and all
Yeah.
that. Cool.
And a lot of people need more than just what to buy, because buying the gear is only about 10% of the problem. But yeah, so we got that stuff. We got some swag, this hoodie I've got on. We've got some stickers with this on it. We've got some hats. Got a shirt if you want to join the Anti-Ham Radio Club.
I like the Lady Liberty shirts.
Yeah, Statue of Liberty with a Baofeng. Our newest sticker. If you're going to Blade Show this weekend in Texas, I'll be handing out these stickers to anybody that recognizes me, which means
Is it in Dallas or Fort Worth?
I think it's Fort Worth. I don't know.
Is that Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yep. I'll only be there Friday and Saturday.
I may actually swing by because I'm going to Fort Worth Thursday, Friday.
Okay. I brought 200 of these, so if you recognize me, ask for one. I expect to take 199 of them home. But yeah, we got cool stuff. So come spend money. I'm basically clearing out inventory of radios by running that deal, trying to get some overstock back down under control. So, you're doing me a favor, I'm doing you a favor. But take advantage of that St. Patrick's Day thing, and classes are wild. I don't have my tour dates on here. They're on my Instagram on a nice little graphic, but if you look, we'll be in Pennsylvania in 2 weekends here. We'll be at Refuge Medical in April in Oklahoma. Those are sold out.
Yeah.
We'll be back in Charleston for Tactical in April. Stony Point's our headquarters. We're doing Zero to Hero and Tactical back-to-back in May. And that will be the best tactical there is because I live there. So I got a lot of people to move around, and I can make it my own. That'll be the first one there. Detroit, Montana, and Minnesota. This is a tour we're doing out to go to Mountain Readiness.
I noticed you going more up north during July and August.
Yep.
Smart choices.
Well, and Mountain Readiness invited me, and then I always, if it's like a 3-day trip, I'm like, okay, let's break it up. So let's go to Detroit on the way and Minnesota on the way back, as far from Minneapolis as you can get. Back at Pathfinder back-to-back in September, and then more out in Oklahoma in the fall. So you see, we kind of fade out.
Oklahoma, that's what
that's Refuge.
Yeah.
And those classes, every single time they sell out. So I'm not making that up. Like right now, you can't sign up for the first 2, and it's over 2 months away still. So get in these if you care about. That's a very good group of people to work with. But you see, we only go out to October. As I read this list off, if you're like, man, that's really close, it's only like 4 hours from me, I wish it was closer, please make sure you comment that on my Instagram.
See what happens.
And let me know that you wish I was traveling 4 hours closer to you when I drive 30 weeks a year. That makes my heart sing when you do that.
What did Yeager used to say? He's like, those are the same motherfuckers where if I did it in their backyard, they'd find a way to not show up.
And it's a fact, dude. When I
had a dude fly from Washington State for this class.
So listen,
they come if they want to come.
I had guys flying in from France. I had guys coming in from Czech Republic to classes. So when I lived in Dallas, I lived north of Dallas in the suburbia. Okay. And I had a place of training in Plano.
Uh-huh.
And the guy would call me from about 20 miles south of downtown Dallas. He goes like, I wish your place was closer.
Yep. I get it at my Stony Point class because they're 30 minutes away. That's what you're talking about.
My response was like, I would not allow you to join my class.
Right. Please.
Like seriously, fuck you. You know, I apologize for all the people that go like, well, my life is busy and this and that. We already had questions about the upcoming 6-day class, right? The, no games. Again, these people, but to get together, Lewis, myself, and then Tim Morris, Jay Gibson,
Right. That whole
Jerry Nuss, and Calvin Lamb, and a number of other qualified people there being,
Sure.
and Josh will be there, and people will go like, ah, man, I wish this was closer to like, Pennsylvania. And I go like, let me say it very, very softly. Shit like that doesn't come to you. You go to it.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I know
when
you
you
earned
bring
that, but that crew earned that. I
Yeah.
may not have earned that. I understand that might be your perspective. I have, and you can be wrong all you want, but those guys, without a doubt, right? So it's like you don't.
Well,
If-
not even that. Just have you ever tried to reach Tim Morris via telephone?
I don't know why you would
Like,
do such a thing.
It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Just to get an answer back on anything, much less to have him then look at a calendar.
And commit to it and mark it.
Yeah.
You'd have to buy a calendar.
Yeah. Like
that all sounds
this
hard.
This is not easy. And then
And do it for 6 other guys too. Yeah.
Yeah, when Lewis pulled it off and he goes like, hey, we have this and that. Is your range available these dates? And then I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Let's do this shit. So, yeah, but I was just using it as an example. It's not because of, gravity of the names, but the mentality of people.
Absolutely, it is
absolute
a mentality.
consumerism. Unless it comes to my bathroom, I'm not interested, Well,
all of that said,
stay on the
you
shitter.
can do what Sonny did. So what you can do if it's not close enough to you is go to the top of the training page and click on the class host request form and fill that out. And make sure you fill out that you have like 20 eager people
and facility.
and a facility, and I'll come teach it. I don't know why none of my links work. That works. I fill this form out, and I get an email.
Oops.
And probably
It
don't.
kicked you out or something?
It's a Google form.
I think Bill was.
I see.
But yeah, so fill that out, and I will work you in if you have an attractive enough offer. Not, and I don't mean that arrogantly, but we got to have places where there's actually people. I've gone places where we can only get 3 people, but if you've got a group and a place, we'll come to you. It might take us a little while, but that's an option. That's what Sonny did, right?
Yeah, because we
I'll
met.
never be able to do this.
2 years ago, and I see Evan there. I see Evan there. I have commitments there or there. I'm like, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Between the family and business and
Yep.
other commitments and all that, and I go like, oh, the only way it's going to have to be is we ask if Evan is willing to come here and teach
Yep.
the class here. And I spoke to Phil in Chicago, and they go, hell yeah, let's do this, So contacted Evan, and there you go. And I took a class. So it was very selfish of me, but it worked out for 20 other people. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it very much. I'm glad we did. And these guys they're building something special out here. You should come. I mean, we're on your channel. I guess I should consider where I'm at, but you should come do their stuff. I'm going to. I need to.
I like that idea of the 2 radio classes
shouldering
with a fear inoculum in the middle.
I mean, I
don't know if it would be with fear inoculum in the middle, or we can throw in a couple of different classes that are a little bit more, more streamlined classes, so to speak, if you can say that, and then do fear inoculum after, because I wouldn't want to start the March Madness with fear inoculum, because that takes 50% of people capacity right there.
Yeah.
Even after teaching fear inoculum, like on the second day of Evan's class, I'm like, my hard drive is blinking red, like there's no space in there.
I'm sure. Yeah, so I get that. Putting it all together like that is a convenience very few schools are ever going to give you. Does the UV5R Mini have the same capabilities of the UV5R? It does have all of the same capabilities and a whole lot more. Yep. It holds 999 channels instead of 128, which might not make sense until you've seen what we put in one, but that's big. 128 is pretty limiting. It does airband receive. It has a much more intuitive interface, a nice big screen. It's not large, but it shows a lot of information. It's not like a monochromatic LCD black and white screen. It's a colorful display with multiple lines of menu shown like you're more used to. UV5R does not. And it's native USB-C charging, which is another $20 on a UV5R to get that. So
What are the shortcomings of the Mini in comparison to regular?
So
If there are any.
there's a huge one in that it's new. So I don't like new turds. If I'm going to have a turd radio, which is a Baofeng, I want the old one that everybody else has. So I can find batteries, I can find chargers, I can find programming cables, and it shares some compatibility with the Kenwood connector, but different battery, different form factor. It does not go in a charging dock. It doesn't have a lot of aftermarket support, so you don't have like 12-volt adapters or extended batteries, none of that cool stuff. The UV5R, it's cheap. It does the job. It's the one Baofeng to rule them all. In my philosophy, it has to be on that chassis. It has to take this battery, the UV5R battery, for a cheap radio. And you start to care about that when Amazon's not running anymore, or when Amazon's a week away or 5 days away. That's when you care. If you're used to living in Dallas and stuff shows up in the same day that you order it, you get spoiled. But as soon as you have to find stuff out of thin air, you're really glad you run the most popular radio on earth, and that's why.
So it's kind of like with the calibers, right? You're
Yep.
pretty cool with 338 Lapua, right? Until
You got to go find some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, does it take Glock mags?
Yep.
Like,
pretty much, yeah, similar.
Yep, just like a lot of my philosophy comes from the firearms world, from the good side of the firearms world, the competent, common sense side.
Rich Elb is saying,
It is in Fort Worth.
I guess, and
Yeah,
say hi to Daniel Winkler for him.
probably
I'm guessing
won't.
that's the Daniel we're talking
Oh, that's
about.
true. Who knows? It could be Daniel Ortega, Daniel Winkler.
It could be Daniel Elb, one of his
Could
cousins.
could be
Yeah, goodness.
Daniel from the Asian restaurant.
Dan the man.
Who's Oh no. Oh, that's Ricky.
That's Ricky.
Yeah. Ricky, man, that guy has been asking for a Texas class. It's got to be like 2 years.
Is that
He's
right?
the first one to sign up.
Wow.
And
That's cool.
he was like a real cowboy, man.
He was like there were two of them in the class with
Yeah.
nice hats and all that.
Yeah.
I'm like this feels.
I
this
love
feels
that
Texas,
about
man.
Texas. I can't pull that off, but I'm always impressed. by
Sometimes
that.
I try, but I feel so weird because
I would too. I bought a cowboy hat last time I was in Texas, and I have yet to even wear it. I feel so phony.
I have two of them and really nice ones too.
Yeah,
like,
I bought a Stetson hat.
yes.
It's like a bucket list thing, and I can't wear the thing.
When I moved from New York to Tennessee, people in New York started asking, like, "Are you wearing a cowboy hat with a big belt buckle?" I was like,
no.
I haven't even seen anybody
No.
with that in Tennessee.
No.
And they're like,
I mean,
Oh,
maybe at a rodeo or something,
Yeah.
but not.
I have boots and I have a couple of Stetsons, but I haven't bought the big buckle yet, man.
You should start giving those instead of certificates.
Maybe I'll
just
do
a big
maybe,
sunny buckle.
WWE.
Maybe I'll just do the class and then at the end of it, give the buckle that says "You suck exceedingly."
Or
Yeah.
Blooming Death belt buckle.
Oh shit!
Dude. We
it's
gotta
the
get Shinday to make up some Blooming Death belt
I
buckles.
bet he can.
Blooming
make
Death
something
belt
cool.
buckle. It's the belt buckle with like the NAA revolver, but it's two of them and they spin.
I haven't ever felt more out of the loop.
There's all
You seen
kinds of
Blooming Death?
commercial.
He's not seen Blooming Death.
Oh no.
Is it a movie?
No, it should
This
be.
is the reason why Yeager said he wanted to meet me.
Really?
Yeah,
You're in it then?
No,
He
I
is-
am it.
You
He
am
is-
you am it. Got it. Got it. I've been hanging out with
We'll-
a Frenchman. Sorry,
We'll
my
discuss
English
that
is
separately.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll watch it immediately after this.
Immediately.
okay.
Right.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's
I'm sure.
I will create the radio blooming death equivalent tomorrow at the range.
Yes.
Perfect. Looking forward to it too. What else is on your website? So you have swag, you have training, you have gear, you have accessories, you have the people that want to host you, the site, the fill
Yeah.
up the form and all that. What other social media people?
Instagram is going to be your best bet. It might have a big Instagram page thanks to my right thumb that went viral a few years ago pressing buttons on a radio. But Instagram's the best. _ radio made easy is the handle. That's a good one. I finally hired someone to help with marketing. Shout out to Miss Erin, who's awesome. I've been working with probably close to half a year now. She's going to be, we're putting out value add content now, not just trying to sell you stuff content in the emails. So if you're not on the email list, once a month, I'm writing, like a blog, or it'll go in our guide section there, but something that's, a little nugget from class that will flesh it out more. So get you some graphics and some better understanding. If you go, there's not really anything like it right now, but if you click on GMRS, you'll see an explanation of what is GMRS and how to get your license. That there's no test, but the test is the website to get the process done. So, stuff like this is just resources. It'll be more graphical, but be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, though, like my Instagram is me. It's just me sharing our life and sharing what's cool, and that's the best way to get us. We're on all the other stuff too, but yeah.
No OnlyFans account.
We've thought about it.
So
When I
did
say
I.
we,
I actually registered the account. I just never posted anything.
it was interesting. I got this patch that I thought was hilarious that says "Follow me on OnlyFans," and I wore it around Blade Show one year, and a lot of people thought it was for real, like a freakishly high number of people. But then I remembered I'm at Blade Show.
That's a clue. Yeah, that's a clue.
But
Blues Clues.
I won't confirm or deny if I do or don't have one. Does the UV
OPSEC.
Daniel, what is all this? Daniel Karas.
Yeah.
Does
Maybe
the
it's
UV
my cousin.
Oh, that's your name. Okay. I don't ever think of that. It does not use the 5R batteries. The UV Pro has its own battery, and it is USB rechargeable natively. And it's submersible. So UV5R is not quite submersible. You can sneeze on it. But we did waterproof ours in class. And they all survived a torrential downpour, including pea-sized hail. I didn't hear anybody's not working after that.
Yeah, the Ziploc bag trick works well. Like I've seen them survive in contractor classes all day in the pouring rain in a nylon pouch on somebody's chest.
Just don't count on that.
Yeah.
They can.
But diving would not be the thing.
No.
Or like falling into a pond or.
Yeah, you're not walking through the creek with it in your ankle.
I just like tell people treat it like you treat all the other stuff you have that's electronic, and it'll probably be fine. For most people, that's fine.
Yeah.
Do they make like a boomer electrician OtterBox that you can cram it into?
Oh yeah, go to Harbor Freight, buy an Apache case, an antenna relocation cable, and
that costs about 8 times as much as radio itself.
Hold it like this, and I joke if you ever look at a boomer electrician's phone, what they do to it is an atrocity. It's like wrapped in a pool noodle, like an OtterBox case, and it's completely unusable. When are you coming to Mount Holly, North Carolina? Probably not soon. Not soon. Who's packing them Milwaukee? Well, this is here that, Milwaukee works for me, as I told a student last week. Because
It's not loaded.
I run all of my whole gearbox out of all those pack outs. And the student was like, "Do you work for Milwaukee?" Like, no, they work for me. Can't you tell? I'm a fan of the pack out system. Yeah, I got
It's
them
pretty
run my
legit.
whole life out of it.
The way you can construct your own classroom.
Yeah, I make
using
my
them
podium out of it now,
It's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
and a chair to sit in. And
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, if you go on the road that long, you find workarounds. Will
So
there
was-
ever be a barbecue radio? We got to, Rich, you're out of tokens. Oh, he's already got an answer. Y'all are fun to talk to. We can laugh and have a good time.
Wait, now I want to know what the PRC 77 is. Is that a fancy radio?
Well, by the number
I don't
of
know.
letters it's in the military. PRC is the military stuff, which means I don't know anything about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But barbecue gun is like a polished 1911 or
Yeah, something fancy.
I mean,
to
you don't
show
think
off,
this
but
is
not the
fancy?
greatest.
It's got a chrome faceplate.
Yeah, I always thought my Yaesu was kind of on the barbecue radio level until now. I'm kind of rethinking all that.
It felt like it when you bought it. I know that.
Well, yeah,
Doesn't
'cause
look cool, but
I
it
walked
costs a
into
lot.
Jaeger's office. I said, "What kind of radio do I need to buy?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, I'm not trying to spend your money. You can get a Baofeng for not very much money."
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "Is that what you have?" He said, "Well, fuck no."
And I never knew any of this from James.
He said, I've got one of those," and pointed in a box, and it was it UV6R?
VX.
VX6R.
The same one you have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, "I have one of those." And I was like, "What's the difference?" He's like, "Well, I could drop that motherfucker in a puddle and it's still going to work.
Yeah.
I could probably run it over with my truck and it's
Yeah.
going to work." And I was like, "Well, that kind of sounds like the thing to have then." And, I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I ended up ordering one. It wasn't going to be there in time.
Uh-huh.
So then he gave me that one.
Okay.
And then I gave him the one when it came in. So,
I mean, some stuff we talk about in class is
the
those
issue.
fancy ham radios. That's a great radio. Like, that's a legendary radio. You got to modify it with a soldering iron to make it do what a Baofeng can do right out of the box. And you can't do things you can do with a Baofeng with that radio, despite it costing more than 10 times. You can't put an offset in for a crossband repeater. Like, it won't fit. So,
Damn.
It's not made to do that stuff. It's almost like they built it for a certain audience that wouldn't have ever wanted that. But there's things like that, and that may not actually be true about the VX6 for the crossband, but a lot of Yaesus you can't. But it's solid for what it is. But you get a lot for the money with $18. So
Okay.
I'm happy to sell you other stuff too, but that's a good option if you're getting started. Ask James. I don't know if I want Sam Russell to make me pronounce things on the internet. That sounds dangerous.
PRC 7.
Who's
E7.
James? Who's James that he's asking
James,
about?
the other Marine. I guess something.
I forgot. There's like
Marine
a
talk.
club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jarheads.
Because now at this point, I think the Yaesus are kind of like my G.I. Joe walkie-talkies from back in the day. I'll just set them to some channel where they can talk to each other. And here, you hold that one. I'm gonna go in the living room.
They do so much. They're cool, but they're also from like 20 years ago, which is crazy to think, but been selling that same design for 20 years. All right.
Do you guys have any questions for Evan? Because the man's been working for 2 days, and then he had to suffer with huge crowd of people staying here for the classes.
I was blessed, especially Bart. Oh, I can tell you guys while you're asking your questions, I just saw Lewis scroll on our page. Something you should know is we do layaway, which I completely ripped off from Tactical Response. But if you're trying to figure out how you're going to accumulate $550, you can do it $25 at a time right on our site, and we manage it for you. So, when you get to your class amount, you can buy gift cards too. But the training layaway, if you're bad at saving your own money, we can help you save it. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. Just, I know how it is. If you have it, you might spend it. So go ahead and fork it over and tell us where you want to reserve your spot. Go ahead and hold it for you. And I've had a bunch of people use that recently. Times are tough. So, you don't even have to know what class yet. But if you want to chuck us $25 a month till you get to $550, then we'll help you with it. So I really try to make it attainable to everybody. That's one little service we'll offer to you. Happy to answer other questions if you got them. I'm just seeing a bunch of Marines talking to each other right now.
I know.
I usually watch you guys on here. It's kind of weird to be in front of the wood wall of...
It's heavier than it looks.
We had to put that thing up right before the show. I'm exhausted.
Right. Nails and hammers and Milwaukee's.
How
Miss
was
Dixon?
That's my mama. I'm not sure what she's getting at there. I taught radio on my birthday at the last class, so that's what I did for my birthday.
Not this class, though.
No, last time. Yep. That's interesting. At this point, I don't really care that it's my birthday. I just would like to continue having them. That's all I'm asking for.
Shut up, youngsters.
Yeah. The last few birthdays, I think ever since I got into this sort of life path, where I wasn't out chasing women at a bar, trying to have a party, like birthdays have, if anything, just become an awkward. My phone gets more notifications.
Oh yeah, it's everyone's opportunity that doesn't actually care about you to pretend for the day.
I've forgotten it's my birthday, but I'm trying to get something done, and there's all these red bubbles on my phone.
You can fix that. I took mine off of Facebook. It's amazing how many fewer people pretend if you hide your birthday. It's because they don't know to pretend. Somebody's got something there, Will. Or is it more crap talking? Oh, will the DM32 be coming to the store? I have a pair of them I'm messing with. The problem with that, if you don't know, this is the new DMR radio that Baofeng came out with, and it's like $100, and it's encryption capable. It's impressive what it's capable of, but for what we do as a store, the fatal flaw is it's really bad programming. Like on the computer, it's tedious. There's not a way to scale that process, and we have a lot of automation built into our programming because I have to do hundreds a week. So some weeks, so you got you got lots of things that have to be done that can't be done on that radio at scale, and I would have to upcharge so much that people wouldn't want to buy it for that. So it's a cool radio if you want to just punch a number into it and run around. If you got to like put 1,000 repeaters in it from Repeater Book and set that up properly so a customer's happy when they open it, it's hard to do. Their software is as high quality as their quality control processes. So I probably will not be bringing it to the store for us. Brush Beater sells them. Buy them from him. He's a good business to support. And they sell a bunch of stuff we probably won't ever sell because ours is turnkey. But if you want one of those, support him instead of Amazon. All right.
What else do you guys have? Going once? Going twice? All right.
We went a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's not that for us. That's not long.
Okay.
We're
Hour 40.
right around the 2-hour mark most of the
Right
time.
on.
We're in no
It's
rush.
fun hanging out with you.
We try and entertain the folks who
And
are
please,
here or drop some knowledge.
I didn't see it.
Hopefully they got some value out of this.
Yeah.
If nothing else, if you have not taken a radio class, it is extremely important. Like the scenarios we ran were based on stuff that you experienced.
Real life. Yep. Real life after Hurricane Helene. Yep.
So to think that that can't come or something like that can't come to a town near you sometime soon is crazy. Be ready for it.
well, I mean, that's, not very close, but just a few hours south of here, when that huge flood in Texas that wiped out that girls' camp and all that,
Yep.
they were running a huge operation and pretty rough terrain looking for bodies and looking for possible survivors for days. Imagine that going for weeks or a month.
My understanding with that particular one is a NOAA weather radio would have saved all those lives, but it was too late by the time.
It was too late by the time it got to them.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it can be a life-saving skill for sure. Hopefully it isn't for you, but it can be, so we can help you be ready. Best middle of the road. Bobby, it's that one that you were asking about. The middle of the road, definitely the UV Pro. If you're willing to spend $150, but that's depends on your definition of middle of the road. But as far as our offerings, that's right down the middle, and it does a lot. There's a lot to grow into, but it's simple to start, and you can get to the complicated stuff when you're ready, if you ever do. But that's what I would go with. Our price is lower than Amazon, and it comes programmed. And right now it comes with a $45 antenna too. So buy it today or tomorrow.
Damn.
Or wait. Please actually wait till Friday to buy it.
Because then you make more.
Right. But, whatever you want to do.
So what does that do what are the other features that does that like the UV5R doesn't do?
So the biggest thing about it, other than the submersibility, is it has this thing in it called a TNC that it's a modem. So it takes information and turns it into sound. And what that lets it do is send text messages, data packets, images, Morse code, all kinds of cool stuff that you can control
without you having
through
to
your
have
phone.
a phone with the
Correct. So if you have one and your buddy has one, you can text each other over the radio, send images, locations
through an app on the phone.
Yeah. And they'll do some of that natively in the radio also. But that is kind of the advanced use of it. Even just as a walkie-talkie, it's superior because it has memory groups. So if you've ever had to use a Uzi 5R, you know it holds 128 memories, but they're in no particular grouping, right? You have to go by name or by number. You have to know, okay, if I have 3 locations in here, Dallas starts at number 33, Houston starts at number 80, and New York City starts at number 90. And you write that on the back of the radio. On this, it has 6 memory groups of 30 that are named. So you can have a Dallas group, you can have a Houston group, and it's more navigable. And then that ends up making it more pleasant to use. And the more pleasant it is to use, the more you're going to use it. So
it's not harder to use because
no, it's actually
more
easier.
radio.
No, that's a bizarre thing in radio. The cheap ones are harder to use. It's backwards from what you would think. You do not have to get into all that fancy stuff I talked about, but you can.
Is programming it in some way as, similar to the 5R, or it's very different?
It is similar in that you need to do the same tasks, but they're labeled far more clearly in a more intuitive menu.
Because in 5R it's pretty interesting.
So like you want to open this menu, you press menu, and a menu appears that looks like a menu. Like there's 5 items.
Got it.
It shows you on the right what the setting is, and you scroll down. On a UV5R, it's like a journey into hell when you hit the menu button. So we help suit you up and get you ready for hell in our class, but it's not fun.
It's still hell.
This one is intuitive. So the settings are broken up into like categories. So there are radio settings, channel settings. So if I want to edit this channel, you would go to channel settings. Like you're not going to find screen brightness next to tones. And you might find that so it's intuitive. And what I love about BTech is it's based in South Dakota, and like a chick named Katie is who I order radios from.
She sounds cute.
Well, she sounds American. She sounds like someone who might speak English, and that is not normal with radio. So I'm super pumped to support them. Now, they're not made there, but they are the importer and the distributor, and they build the firmware, which is way important. So I like supporting BTech, and they support me. They've been awesome to me as a supplier.
Yeah, so wait until Friday to buy it when the price goes back to normal, and you don't get that free $45 thing.
Yeah.
Don't do it today or tomorrow. Wait till Friday. You're all good. But then get it.
Yeah, if you can wait.
So I think
I'd appreciate it.
That was this.
That's the UV Pro. It comes in. Everyone loves that Coyote tan. I don't even have it in tan because every one of them I get in, I have to send out. So I carry the black one.
That is, I'm guessing is easier to see underwater because the contrast between the radio and the buttons.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah. If you're going swimming at the bottom of the lake, that one's going to be easier to see.
Now,
unless it's clay.
When you're keying up the mic underwater, does it?
No,
do you have to make the blah, 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 blah sounds, or does it make that itself?
It has. I'm pretty sure on that one you don't have to make the sound. It's so
this
good.
is going in the direction we're going to start discussing freaking sandwiches here in the next 5 minutes.
Sandwiches.
And I'm you haven't heard that?
No.
You haven't told him
Sonny
that story?
Started it.
Fuck off, man. Oh, God, I walked into this.
So the other radios that were on there, so is the next level up the DMR radio?
Yeah. We used to only have the 6X2 Pro, which is the middle one there that's black. That was the top dog. It used to cost what it says there. The price came down that much when the next guy came out. But that one, if you want to run encryption, you need a DMR radio. Everything we've been talking about is analog. They're backwards compatible with analog, but those two do privacy capable, secure comms. So the trick there is you definitely can't just buy one of those.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing encryption, everybody's got to do it. So you need one for your wife, one for your kid, one for your neighbor, or you're just going to be running analog anyway. So they can do all the same stuff. You can text. That one on the left, the 7X2, I show in class what it has that almost no handheld has is the ability to be a repeater, a crossband repeater, which is a huge asset when you're trying to connect distances. So you can stick that in a mailbox or put it in a tree halfway between you and another point, and
So even going back to analog,
it would work for analog or digital. Yeah,
Got it.
so
That's cool.
that's my favorite feature of it. It distinguishes it, and it does airband. So a lot of people like listening to the airplane traffic. That radio can receive it. So can the UV Pro. The one in the middle cannot do airband. I don't mess with that. Some people love sitting and listening to that. Katie with a Y. But yeah, Katie's at B-Tech. She helped me out today. She's a good one. They got a good team. Don Stinson, good to see you, man. Don hosted us in the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin.
I've been there.
Yeah, wonderful place.
Wonderful place.
Wonderful
but
people.
I'm assuming that's one of the places where not
It was
wonderful
tough.
people, but not a lot of people.
It was tough to fill, but we made it happen. Had people come from all over, not Wisconsin, which is always awesome. Like, that is one of my most humbling things is when a guy's like, yeah, I took 2 flights to get here. I'm like, for this? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier to do that than wait.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, Don Stinson's area there, it's cool because we went after the class, we went to the butcher shop there, and Don Stinson, like, apparently they didn't know that there is such thing as a beef bacon, and they had it.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, we're getting this, and it was like I became like a person who's responsible for new addiction for people, you know. So
what is a beef bacon?
That's exactly
made
what
from.
It's beef bacon.
Right, this is like the same piece? Cut.
Okay,
just on a
Is
cow.
it good?
Amazing.
I mean, you're
absolutely
into
amazing. It. Absolutely amazing.
But
you go beef bacon, you never go back to.
There was a
bacon.
I'm not sure about that.
There was a Philly cheesesteak shop in Mansfield that like won the best Philly in Ohio. They used beef bacon. I think they were Muslim-ish.
I mean, the best Philly in Ohio is probably.
I don't know.
Hey, it's right next to
It's the best Philly
okay?
cheesesteak in Mansfield.
It was good, but then like somebody got shot in the head there, and then they don't do it anymore.
They don't do it anymore.
It was no good anymore.
Gosh.
Yeah.
He got shot because he didn't make payments on his rug.
No, I didn't shoot anybody.
Sonny beats you up and then cooks your breakfast. I haven't had him beat me up yet, but I think it's in my future probably. Hate to say, but Rhinelander, Wisconsin is, they call it the Northwoods, and they've got this monster out there on every street corner that I can't remember, Monadnock or
yeah. Well,
Monadnock.
I don't know about Rhinelander being like the place to be in apocalypse, because it depends what kind of apocalypse. But I'm thinking with that, not so far away from there, that the research thing with the Lyme disease and all that stuff. I don't know, man. If that hits with the fucking 2 megaton, I guess it would fry it all.
Is that up in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
I thought Lyme disease came from Plum Island over in New York.
No, where it came from, I don't know. But
Bill Gates.
the big thing with research there, it's actually somewhere in there, somewhere in that area.
You're right, Don Hodag. I forgot that's the name of the monster. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Monadnock. That's something else. But yeah. You guys get some gnarly winters too, so that that creates
I'd rather not.
that helps the gene pool, I know.
What tough
If you
winters?
gotta make it through the winter, that means you have to defer gratification during summer.
True that. They do have good food up there, man. Cheeses and everything. Goodness gracious.
How tall would you say the average woman there is, Don?
Where? Oh,
Oh God! Now we're going to that, guys. Just so you know, and I'm not going to mention celebrity's name, but during this past 2 weeks of training, somebody pulled up the picture of this. Sometimes when
a
you
large
talk
woman.
large, or rather large female, yes, and she's a daughter of very famous person, and she was like, otherwise you would say an Amazon, like 6'2", blonde
Okay.
hair and all that. But once you know the name from the gene pool that she came from, and then you see the picture, you go like, you know what? I'm gonna sleep with her dad before I get within 20 feet from her.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
She didn't miss any branches falling out of the ugly tree. They
It's
caught,
not nice to say. It's
Yeah.
not.
but it's
Well, you didn't
accurate.
name her.
It's just simply accurate.
And none of it
Unfortunately.
is her responsibility. It's all just natural, or is she like also just?
At first, Liz
I'm
was considering about
pretty sure it's
improving his
natural.
gene pool with that lady. He was like, I'm going after
Wow.
it.
I have enough good looks in my bloodline.
Yeah, just it's
Clearly.
not long enough.
Yeah, I just need the height.
Yeah. So
The height.
Lewis was considering, and then he saw the pictures.
You never know what recessive genes you got going. They might make a Nephilim.
That's good news, and he's gonna be my fucking neighbor.
A child of renowned.
Oh,
right.
great! All right.
All right. On that note.
On that note.
Oh man,
Mm-hmm.
we're rooting for you, Lewis.
Thank you.
All right.
Josh, say something cool to take us out.
Something cool takes out. Don Stinson says, Lewis, time for.
I'm down.